the secret files of Teletraan 2.
Hello everyone, and from the files of Moonbase 2, fuck.
Keep it going, it's too late.
You know, I had a really weird day at work today where I had to read something and it took me half an hour.
How he is, by the way.
For anyone who doesn't know, I'm slightly sensitive to frequencies, high or low. I don't know. If I'm paying attention, I've got good hearing. And it also turns out, if I'm in a radio station and someone is fiddling with all the knobs, and I mean all the knobs, they will eventually hit a level where it's like a truck is hitting the side of my head. So it's been a weird feckin' day. Ladies and gentlemen, from the files of Teletraan 2, it's time to talk comics. And it's time to talk about a man who clearly drank all the green Kool-Aid.
Woo!
Because he is seeing things none of us are seeing. We've got a lot to go through this week because... partly because of scheduling errors, and partly because I almost feel like they're leading us into the new format for the end run of IDW.
Oh, that would be an interesting idea of why it kind of worked out like this.
Yeah, we've got 2 comics for the main 2 books, so 2 each rather, and we've got our 1 Visionaries. At the end, Patreon people, make sure to stick around after we're done talking about Visionaries because I want your input on something. And you're paying to be here, you might as well have an opinion, you know? Jeremy. You dick. He's very handsome. He's very handsome. I've been watching the YouTube videos. It's nice Charles is opening his toys finally.
I think it's an optical illusion done through editing.
Well, he is a doctor.
Exactly.
And I should know. I am a doctor. I'm one
You're
behind.
You're an actual doctor.
I'm a doctor. He's a doctor. There's no such thing. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are getting straight into this with Optimus Prime, issue 17 and 18, The Falling, chapter 3, The Ground, as in it's coming out from under you. And we're following up from the apparent death of Alpha Trion, which is now officially the death of Alpha Trion. Aileron is sort of reminiscing about her life back in Camelus, and basically how she was less into the religious side of things and just always had a thing for heroic figures. She used to make up stories about big heroes in her youth. She was obsessed with Pyromagna, and then when the world's coming down around her, when the Combiner Wars start, who shows up but the ultimate hero? And she started following him, and hey, that led to her, you know, one of her closest compatriots to die, poor old Sterling back in the day. And now she's like, it just keeps happening as Alpha Trion is being wrapped, she's watching footage rather of Alpha Trion being wrapped up in a cloth and carried off by Optimus. She has what is probably the most reasonable response, which is, Onyx killed Alpha Trion, let's go. And RC, oddly enough, is like, maybe we should all calm down. And before anyone can really argue about it, Metro Titan decides to solve things by transforming. Aileron starts just sort of falling through him, and he opens the space bridge and heads to Cybertron. And the colonists are left behind because they're terrible people.
Good.
Yeah, you stay there, out of trouble. Cybertron, obviously, we've got to follow up with Onyx's accusation of Soundwave murdering, pretty much a lot of people, including Alpha Trion. And in a move I wasn't honestly expecting, because I expected this to play out in the political stuff that this series really does a lot. Optimus goes up and says, he's my friend, he didn't kill anyone, who you think you're fooling? Circuit and Longtooth, because they really need to keep out of the way, are filming things. Needle Nose comes up, not only defends Soundwave, but defends Optimus Prime.
That was kind of nice.
That was really nice. And Soundwave, and then Tappet, fucking Tappet, the little naughty fecker from back in the day, who literally would, if Optimus saved his life, the life of everyone he met, and bought him ice cream, would still consider him the Antichrist. Sort of yelling from the thing, he's faking! He's faking! You're fake! And Soundwave makes the Optimus fakes nothing. Following the example of my friend, I will submit myself to the leader of this planet and their judgment, and I'll simply say, I've done a lot of things in my time, but I didn't do this. And then Windblade just like, he didn't do it. He clearly did. You did it. Liege Maximo did it. One of ye did it, but he didn't do it. And it's just, Onyx has this moment of just like, well, isn't this nice? Everyone's coming together under a foreigner and a Decepticon. Oh, and they're being helped by Marissa Fairborn, who really wishes she was anywhere but here.
Where's Thundercracker?
He's just like, he's off making his move, just like, I want my husband back. He's less trouble than you idiots. Where's my dog? I want my dog. But yeah, and all this time, like, there's a creepy eyeball ship floating in the background, which I finally know what that's from.
Mm.
And it all actually makes sense. We'll talk about that later on. Yeah, and Onyx is like, well, isn't that nice? You're all friends. Sure hope you don't have any deep, dark secrets you've been keeping. And plays footage from an interesting point of view. I think it might be Skywarp's, of the death of Horrible, revealing that, of course, back in the day, the Autobots had no control of the ID chips. It was Soundwave who killed Horrible to prove a point. Needlenose doesn't take it well. He has a massive crisis. Trax doesn't help. Trax is also standing over the dead body of Dreadwing, who finally ran out of lives. Because I think that guy has died or nearly died a lot. Him and Alphatron. Actually, yeah, the two guys who died in this are the ones with the most deaths. And basically, all hell breaks loose as Onyx pieces out, for want of a better word. He says, like, you deal with this, I'm off. And all hell breaks loose, and you just have this wonderful scene of everyone attacking everyone else, and Optimus just sort of standing there in the middle of it all, just like, what the hell is happening?
For fuck's sake.
There's also a really nice moment where Needlenose just goes, kill you! Open fire on Soundwave and does literally nothing.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Because Needlenose is not very good at things. And I like Soundwave saying, it's like, listen, you're right to be angry. Not really the time. And then backhands him. It's like, you can kill me later. But unfortunately, we forgot about friggin' Scoop. Hey, Andy.
Hey,
Scoop.
Scoop. He's still there.
Yeah, because Scoop was a big believer in the prophecy of the Chosen One. And apparently he's no longer a believer in the Primes, so he'll believe the thing that literally got him nowhere. The Constructicons form into Devastator, the ultra-pious Devastator, who breaks into Starscream's prison and frees him, completely against his will.
Don't help me.
Starscream is literally screaming, put me back. He's even screaming to the imaginary ghost of Bumblebee to save him. And there's a great bit where he says, Devastator is here at your command, Chosen One. Put me back! I can't.
Yeah, that was a good line.
And also, Bumblebee does something. Did you notice? He put up his hand and sort of, there's a little, like, an action flare.
Yeah, there's a little white flash of some sort. Yeah.
I'm curious about that. But don't worry, it can't get worse. And then it gets worse, as RC finds Aileron just as Metro Titan is re-emerging on Cybertron. Metro Titan being the one who basically believed in the Chosen One prophecy the most, because he told it. He basically says, fuck you, Prime, I serve the Chosen One. The Chosen One is like, I'm not exactly free. Poor Screamer. And then Metro Titan responds by attacking Onyx's ship, the Nemesis. Optimus and Windblade are just like, okay, we need to deal with this. She picks Optimus up, they fly up, try to talk Metro Titan down. He's having none of it. Windblade has to dodge and ends up dropping Optimus. He's saved by Onyx. Oh no. And then Onyx orders the Nemesis to fire on Metro Titan and blows a hole clear through him. RC dives in front of Aileron to try and save her. We don't see if anything happens. And Optimus is basically like, not happy. He's not a happy camper. I noticed he doesn't actually seem to care about Metro Titan, but everyone else on the ship, he's like, oh hell no. He dies for Onyx. Onyx punches him in the guts, and as he takes out his hand, his arm is broken.
Is it?
As in, yeah, his fingers are bent back the wrong way and everything else, and something's wrong.
Oh, sorry, you mean Onyx's hand. I thought you meant Prime's hand there.
Yeah. And then Optimus is like, who the hell do you think you are? And then Onyx rips his own head off. Because Onyx Prime is Shockwave.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for this meddling Optimus Prime.
Yeah, meanwhile Aileron's possibly dead corpse is floating in a pool of Energon.
Face down.
Thank you for that, Kay. Thank you. This is a very rapid pace book, Andy.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Lots of stuff happens very quickly.
There is good character work. There's a million other things. I'm not going to talk about the big thing until next issue.
Okay.
I will ask, what was your reaction when you saw the reveal?
I was like, I wasn't sure exactly what I was looking at, like what it meant. I was really happy I had an issue straight away to like say, hey, this is what the fuck's going on, because I was I don't get that. What?
There's been a lot of that, actually. Everything I've seen is just like, I'm really glad the two issues came out together.
Yeah.
So the overall sort of thrust of the issue is basically Onyx injecting chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he does it, looking back, he does it by basically knowing who he's dealing with. How do you get to Soundwave? How do you get to Prime? How do you get to the Colonists? How do you get to the Cybertronians? How do you think the sort of developing chaos went? I mean, do you think it played out well, or?
Yeah, it played out well. I think it's a little bit undercut by what is revealed to us in the next issue, because it makes him less mythical. Like, I was hoping he could just do it because he's a Prime, and that's clearly not the case as we see. But I like the idea of just using words to like completely break down the society fairly quickly and easily by just playing on the little mishaps and revealing their secrets. It's kind of like I guess what Civil War tried to do, the movie.
Yeah,
Didn't do it super well.
No, hopefully Marvel's in a better place now.
Yeah,
we'll see about Avengers. No, I think that's a good thing. Like, basically, Onyx talked the world into turning on itself.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really effective thing. I think framing it with Aileron was also a really, really good device.
Until they got rid of her.
Yeah. John, seriously, if you killed her, we are going to have problems.
Yep.
Because Aileron is a delicate flower, and she must be saved. But I think having, like, she is the outsider who's gotten sucked into this, and, tying into the idea that Onyx isn't quite what he appears. She's the one who's demystified a lot of her previous thoughts, She even says here, she's realized Optimus, Pyra, those types, they're just people.
Yeah, I do like how that's kind of reflected by the artwork with the close-up of her eyes, and they're all kind of glistening like, oh my god, it's Optimus Prime! And then the next page is just like, oh, Alphatron's dead, fuck's sake. The glint in her eyes gone, and it's just, there's like more lines drawn underneath it as well, so it's like, oh fuck, I'm tired of this.
Yeah. Oh, I really wish Slider had said something there, because that would be the time she got decked.
Yes, but luckily she was not around. Oh no, she was at that point still. Yes,
she was in the background, just like, I'm important.
Go away, Slider. Fuck.
You don't have any real problems. My sister's dead, or my brother's dead. Still, literally, basically, Jesus died on screen, guys. You don't matter. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the opening? Which was, as I said, was like this weird, caught me off guard, everyone unified moment.
Which part do you mean, the aileron bit or the bit
just after the aileron bit?
Oh, it was nice. It was nice to see like even people like Needle. It was kind of surprising that Needle Nose stood up for Prime. I was like, oh, yeah, Needle Nose, not being an asshole for a change. I mean, you are just not to Prime. That's nice. Then Tapper came on, and I was like, oh, this guy's still about. Fuck. But it was nice to see them kind of pull together. And all it took was one lie to be revealed to everybody to kind of break it all down once again. Which is kind of a shame, but again, kind of how it would work, I suppose, in real life.
I did like Prime's reaction to that.
Yeah.
It's just, he was like, you killed him in the background.
I will say that for surviving a giant explosion, Marissa's done fairly well for herself. Her top's got a few knocks on it. Same for her skirt. Her heels are fine, and she's just ripped through her leggings, and that's about it.
Well, she's happy out.
When you say she's happy out, you mean she's happy out of the house?
Yeah, and also, she's got oxygen, which on that planet's never a given.
No, it's not. No. Does Cybertron have an atmosphere?
They said before they had to like pump Earth's atmosphere in there for humans to go onto Metro Titan.
Right.
Metroplex.
So I guess it's fine for the planet too?
Presumably. I mean, they can survive in space, so I suppose sticking an atmosphere in there won't particularly hurt them.
No, I mean
an organic atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean for Marissa, I mean they squirted atmosphere into Metro Titan, so I'm guessing they pumped enough to fill the planet.
Either that, or this is like there's some sort of shield around the city or something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I was hoping you knew because you read First Strike.
Basically, they just like, and we're pumping atmosphere into Metroplex, and Iacon, isn't it wonderful? Walk, 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 walk. G.I. Joe are bad.
Okay, never mind
then. So yeah, it's an interesting one in that regard. Poor old Marissa. Another big one in this one, I think, is the Constructicons and Starscream, because that was not what I was expecting, which was basically comedy gold.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Like, Scoop brought back into the fore.
I'm shocked that the Constructicons decided to start listening to Scoop again, or maybe they were just bored and were like, we can break some stuff and be devastated. That'd be cool. But as soon as I read that part with Scoop and I saw the panel of him combining together, I just sent you a message. God damn it, Scoop. God damn it. Scoop's the worst. Scoop's worse than Tapper. Because at least Tapper's consistent with his arseholery, while Scoop just kind of dips back and forth. Oh, I don't believe you're the chosen one. I do now. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, yes, I do. And yeah, poor Starscream. He was, content in his imprisonment, and he's not even allowed that now.
And something's going on with Bumblebee.
Yeah, whatever that was. That isn't even explained in the next issue. So maybe issue 20, I guess.
I like the Metro Titan stuff is interesting to me because like that fight, even if Metro Titan's dead, that fight's not over because Metroplex is still there, Triptychon is still there. I mean, are we about to see Triptychon and Metroplex die? Because I'd rather not. I like them both.
It seemed weird that the Metro Titan felt the need to come to Cybertron. Like, what was the trigger? Was it that he served Starscream? And if that's the case, then how was he able to come at that point?
Maybe he was just reacting to Alpha's death.
Maybe, yeah.
But it is the one bit that made me blink the most because afterwards he's all about the chosen one, the chosen one, the chosen one. And we didn't see that causal link. No. Let's see, anything like there's a lot in this issue, but I'm just thinking if there's anything else worth chatting about. No, I think we covered most of the points, really.
I think so, yeah.
Anything you'd like to add before we go to a rating?
Looks pretty, as ever. There's only maybe 2 panels that I was a bit confused on, which was him, Onyx hitting Prime in the chest. I wasn't exactly sure what was happening there. And I didn't get, at first I needed to look at it a few times, Prime reaching for Onyx's face. Or was that Onyx's hand reaching for his own face?
It's blue. I'm looking at it in Onyx's claws anyway.
Right, so is Prime reaching for Onyx's face?
Oh yeah. No, actually, does Onyx have blue hands?
Well, he's blue.
He's in shade for most of this. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why I was a bit confused because I couldn't see. I think it's Optimus Prime's hands, but then there wasn't. I wasn't exactly sure on the position of Prime.
Yeah, he's got blue claws, but it's a bit different. Like, I'm assuming Onyx ripped off his own face. But the fingers do look quite sort of. Do they have claw?
I don't think they do. I think it's Optimus Prime's.
Yeah. Well, I mean that would work as well.
You see what I mean? The artwork's just a little bit confusing there. If you just look at it quickly, you kind of put 2 and 2 together. But when you look at it, you're like, hang on, not exactly sure what's happening. And that's not often a problem that I usually have with Kay's work.
No. Her work is like she's very good at linear storytelling.
Yeah. So it's just a problem there. I don't think there was any other issue. Oh, I did have when Onyx was showing the video clip, how was he showing that to people? Was he creating a hologram in his hand? Is that what that was?
I think that's what that was. Or like it's like he has a little ball.
Yeah, I wondered again if it was like a magic orb that he just had, or again, it wasn't super clear on where that was being projected from.
Yeah. Like, I think it would have been nice if he'd like hacked into Circuit and Longtooth and had like through their camera and it went out of the like clearly it was meant to be a live feed, but I'm just thinking like that's very clear to us and the people immediately in that room. To anyone watching on TV, a guy held up a ball and a little black and white picture showed up.
Yeah. I'm sure it had audio, but it wasn't the clearest. It wouldn't have been clear for them, I don't think. So yeah, like you say, if there was like a shot showing it projected across Cybertron, that would have maybe been good, but maybe there wasn't enough room for that. I don't know. I never draw things, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but something I'm a little sad about. Like, I hope this isn't true. I hope we see more of K's Onyx.
But
I really like that design.
I wouldn't
like,
hold your breath.
No, well, it depends. How much does a certain one-eyed killing machine want to reveal to the general world?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like one thing I want to touch on before, like we were talking before, is the giant eyeball, a Unicron thing.
Yes.
It's not.
Okay.
Or at least it's never been before. It's a Beast Wars second thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a Predacon super ship that Galvatron used at the end of the series that he tried to drain all the Angelmus energy from Earth back in day.
Oh, so it's not the ship that he had at the beginning of the show with the stupid face on the front of it and the big spikes coming off the head of it?
No, I think he used it to kill Jupiter, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Jupiter being the planet?
Jupiter the planet, yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you meant like Jupiter, one of Moon's friends.
No, it's been it's been ages since I watched this show. I should rewatch it actually, but because Beast Wars Neo is coming out this year, so I might as well be up to date. And someone made a point on one of the forums that I was reading. It's just like, hey, that ship is one single giant glowing eye. That makes a lot more sense now.
Okay,
considering who the main character behind it is.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah. In which case, Andy, what is your rating for this issue?
As a standalone issue with the reveal, a lot goes on in it. Only a bit was confusing. I enjoyed it a fair amount. I think I would rate it a 9. Good old 9.
Good old 9. It's very good, well paced. A lot of character work, a lot of action, especially for Optimus Prime.
Yes.
Good humor in it as well. Like good laughing bits, good emotional bits. The reveal, I haven't been hit by a reveal like that since Mord Meets the I-12, when it turned out he was Shockwave.
Damn you, Shockwave.
Oh, no, don't even get started on damning Shockwave. Like, the caption for the IDW page on TF Wiki has changed.
Oh, really?
From mostly to entirely Shockwave's fault. I would maybe lean more towards an 8.
Okay.
Just because I think this issue was very, very, very good. But apart from, if it didn't have that big reveal at the end, I don't think it would have been, I wouldn't be like, oh, like the actual core story in the book is good. And it's showing, for anyone who's ever said that John can't write character or something like that, it's just like out the window, those arguments. But it's just like, what I think is elevating a lot of people's scores is that moment at the end. Yeah,
definitely.
And as much as I love that moment at the end, I'm just like, I'm trying to look at the whole book here, you know?
And I think my score is definitely coloured by the fact that I was able to read the next issue straight away.
Yes,
I won't deny that.
I think that had a big effect.
Certainly, yeah.
So I'd be very curious to see, like, some people I know didn't. I think some of the transmission guys only got 17 out this week.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Wow, the internet must be a total no-go zone for them unless they went to Comixology. So I'd be curious to see what their initial ratings for this book would have been. But then they don't, do ratings. But anyway, that leads us into the Falling Interlude, the first who was named. You say interlude, I would say this like the most important part.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's been a short time skip. Optimus has been captured, is brought into Nemesis, and Onyx Prime, or Shockwave, is holding him prisoner. Liege Maximo is there, the beasts are there, including what looks like a really weird Transmetal Rhinox. And Optimus is like, 1, the hell. 2, the hell, because 1, you're alive, and 2, I thought you died as a good guy. And this issue is art divided up between Sarah Pieta Durache and Livia Ramondelli. This issue is Shockwave recounting what happened to him after the black hole. Because it is the Shockwave from there. It's the Shockwave from Dark Cybertron. And, yeah, I'm going to be pausing every now and then to sort of go, and this is why this, because some of it just blows my mind. So Shockwave, at the end of that, he didn't, like, the damage apparently had been done. Being reconnected with his emotions and his feelings didn't save him as everyone had thought it had. The person who he was is long gone. And what you now had was an emotional, fairly unpleasant person who was capable of the cold calculating things, but now with just the emotional backing of, well, there's now conviction, which Shockwave has never had before. Which is basically, they kind of made him way more dangerous.
Sure, yeah.
And the only way you could make that worse is by putting him in a position where he could affect millions. So, Shockwave recounts that after his fight with Optimus and Megatron and falling into a black hole, he didn't get crushed into a million nothings. He got sent back 12 million years through time. Mostly because he combined quantum with an actual fucking time machine. And he basically realized where he was and spent years wandering through the desert, presumably thinking, and he thought, did I cross a line? Did I take myself too far? Logic was clearly not the most important thing there. And then, as he's wandering through what would become the Sea of Rust, he encounters a nomadic tribe of primarily beast formers led by a quadrupedal transformer named Onyx. And the second he hears that name, you can hear a switch go off in his head. Onyx offers him a place among the tribe, saying, you clearly need help more than we do. And they're all like outcasts because of their alt modes, their various social things. And Shockwave responds by blowing Onyx to fuck. He terrifies the beast formers, but one of the normal looking guys, well, normal, he's made of blades, hangs on, and he's like, he's scared, but he's not running away. And Shockwave says, what's your name? And he said, I don't have a name. And again, you can hear a click. And Shockwave names him Megatronus. Now, first pause. We found out in Robots in Disguise that the Fallen, most people didn't actually know his real name. Most people didn't know he was called Megatronus. Alpha Trion and a few others knew. And Optimus said, well, Megatron was his own person. He didn't take his name from anyone. And Alpha Trion said, oh, well, there's no coincidences. Maybe history's repeating itself. Storyteller. The reality is, Megatronus is named after Megatron. Shock. So this is getting into the kind of time travel stuff that James established, which is there is no changing history. Everything you did is fundamentally part of history if you go back in time.
And this is where we get to the point once again where our jokes about John and a wall of things and string is not so much of a joke as a problem for his family.
No, yeah. We're trying to get him on again. Now more rapidly than ever, and I think I know what the picture is going to be. It's not going to be Star Trek this time.
No.
So yeah, Shockwave then disguises himself as Onyx and comes up with the name Onyx Prime. He uses Megatronus, who's very powerful, to basically bring the beast into line, and then they go forth and attack the Darklands. Eventually, years later, Megatronus is now his loyal servant. Shockwave isn't relying on his logic, he isn't relying on his motions, he's relying on the fact that he knows exactly how this is going to play out because it's always played out this way. Cybertronian history is not the history of factions and tribes and everything else. It's the history of Shockwave. The civil war plays out as we understand it. The tribes are brought together. The primes are brought together. They're named primes. I think it was like issue 9, 10 or 11 or something like that, that Onyx was very much key to the development of the prime mythology and the prophecies and everything else. And Shockwave was responsible for all of it. He was responsible for the Chosen One prophecy. He was responsible for the Dark Cybertron prophecy. And then he uses his knowledge of what they need to do next to basically encourage everyone to invade other planets and pack Cybertronia. You remember that? Because he wanted to basically do a test run. And so history unfolds. The Omega Sentinels, led by Omega Supreme, back when he was presumably not as pleasant as he was when he died or got blown up. Onyx, and especially Arcee and Galvatron, the twins, and Alpha Trion, who was kind of like... Shockwave kept Alpha Trion very close to him. They worked on expansion. They worked on invasion. They introduced Cybertron to the rest of the universe. In doing so, they also introduced the idea that maybe being invaded is not so fun. We also get in this, like, Shockwave mentions, hey, this is kind of like the time I took a bunch of Eukaryotes and made them into copies of all the people I knew and had them try to kill each other. Those guys were sent by Onyx Prime to Earth on purpose. So Shockwave's directly responsible in every conceivable way for Hearts of Steel. He sent a bunch of Eukaryotes who presumably he handpicked because they looked like the Autobots and Decepticons, if he didn't just have them modified beforehand to look like the Autobots and Decepticons, so that they could be found by him in the past, so he could then convince them they were Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. It gets better. While all these razzing and planetary expansions are going on, Alpha Trion, who is there as the storyteller, Alpha's like a very, everything's fine because I'm not directly involved, until he starts seeing people dying. And Onyx says, well, it's fine. Like, you know what? This is chaos. This is what it is. And you know what? This planet here is yours. Another pause. A running theme is that the planets with the Ore 13 and the various ores are the planets the Primes escaped to. And obviously there was always a confusion because some of the Primes were dead and Alpha Trion clearly did not escape to a planet. Alpha Trion's planet was this planet. Well, we're going to see Megatronus' planet, which was originally introduced in Spotlight Cup. And we're going to see a hint of Prima's planet, which I'm going to mention something when we get there, which are all the ore planets. Shockwave seeded those planets with the ores because of the connection to the Prime mythology. And the Prime mythology exists on those planets because Shockwave decided that he might as well make the planets he gives to the ores important.
And this is where you have an aneurysm.
I've already had several. Prima is like, the mission failed, everyone hates us. Megatronus is pissed. Liege Maximo, who's also working for Shockwave, stokes Megatronus into picking a fight. Solus Prime, who it turns out is very ambitious, it rushes to defend Prima, and this was basically a way of removing Solus Prime from the equation. She's developed the Star Saber. Megatronus basically stabs her through the gut with it. Megatronus has a bunch of feelings and like, holy shit, what did I do? He escapes. Liege Maximo is made the fall guy at Shockwave's suggestion, and imprisoned in Vigilum, who it turns out was Shadowplayed, and escapes. Liege Maximo then, over thousands of years, comes to the conclusion this was all part of Shockwave's master plan. Right? All the while, Alpha Trion is being told stories. Then, Prima and Shockwave, or Onyx, take Prima's Titan Emissary to track down Megatronus. They find him on the planet Tashi, which would one day be seeded by an ore, which would also one day involve Cup murdering Outback, or talking to Outback's Zed corpse, and then murdering everyone around him. And then a big fight erupts there. The story, according to history, is that Prima and Megatronus killed each other in one gigantic battle. What happened is that Megatronus bisected Prima, and then Shockwave killed him in turn because history said it's time to die. Emissary then took Prima's body into the stars after Alpha Trion's been told another story for his scrapbook. And then Shockwave sabotages Emissary, so he crashes on another one of the ore planets. Rom's. He crashed on Rom's planet because Rom's armor is derived from one of the ores. And that's one of Rom's people. And even that pig was actually... The Star Drive had a toy based on that little pig he's got in her back.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Neat. That's stupid.
And that was the end of the Age of Primes. Presumably Shockwave went off and the colonies were formed and the Eukaryotes and everything else. And Shockwave is like, it's not over. Like, you have so much more to learn. Like, bad things are here. Bad things are coming. I wonder what he's referencing.
Visionaries.
Whether it's because he's seen the future, or it's Shockwave and he's done the maths. Optimus has a role to play, but you need to see the world as I do, because remember, at the moment, Shockwave, like, since the Dark Cybertron events, Shockwave has not had foreknowledge. He doesn't know what's coming. This is all new to him. So basically, the Nemesis is now over Crystal City. And Shockwave throws Optimus out of the ship, saying, well, you're very like me. And I notice he's always calling him Orion. You're very like me, Orion, and the world doesn't need two of me. And he drops him into the singularity at the center of Crystal City. Yeah.
I wasn't sure that's what he did there. He dropped into the void of Crystal City. I didn't know that's what was happening there.
I had to reread it just to double check. Again, it's one of those things I think if we'd had more cutbacks, we'd have noticed.
Right.
Or if someone said, we're over Crystal City, sir.
Yeah, I just assumed that they were in the same place and he just threw him out again.
So yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Everything is Shockwave.
Yep.
Everything. The original wars, the Golden Age, functionism, the colonies, any influence he could have had over history, he has had. And it's all works as this constant paradox, circular paradox. There's even a line in Dark Cybertron saying he sees the world as a circle. And a lot of people are taking that to mean, I'm going to ask John this, but a lot of people are taking that to mean that he realized what was going on then. He saw, he was disassociated from time and he saw things. So, I mean, thoughts?
On what specifically? Because there's a lot here.
I don't know. I mean, what about the core concept that Shockwave is Cybertronian history?
It's weird because I've been thinking about this today after I read it. I was like, I kind of like it, and I kind of really don't like it all at the same time because it seems too neat, and I know there's a lot. It's incredibly convoluted to have Shockwave be literally everything. Like if you just go up to someone and say that everything in the IDW universe is done because Shockwave has made it happen, because effectively it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, a time loop that goes over again and again, I'm sure a lot of people would go, oh, I don't know. At least that's how I felt, especially when it came to the realization that, like you said there when you were given the talk, that Megatronus is named after Megatron, not the other way around. It's just I don't know. But I don't hate it either, because I have seen it done in other things, in other forms of media and other stories. But I can't say I love it. I really can't. What about you, Mikey?
One thing I will say that I forgot to mention there, there's been this big Chris McFeely versus Kazama about Onyx walking on two legs, and she said, like he likes to walk, he does it to look human, and then to be intimidating, he goes down on four. He walks on two legs because he's Shockwave. He doesn't have four legs. Presumably those two legs in front are just little decorations he's using to trick people.
Yeah.
And that's why in the past he's never seen transforming.
You're right.
Because he doesn't have an alt mode. Because he's Shockwave.
Makes sense.
No, it doesn't. So I am one of the few people who really like issue, I think it was 7 or 8.
What one was that?
of Optimus, of Robots in Disguise with the time nonsense.
Well, you need to give me more than that. Issue 7 was a long time ago.
The one where Optimus is traveling backwards in time and it's all completely non-linear, and he punches Bludgeon in the face.
No, I can't remember it, to be honest.
And he punches Turmoil in the face as well.
No,
that was good. It was a controversial issue, and I liked it a lot. So that part of me, I can see why people would be put off by this, because it is neat. It's like Shockwave is not only able to do, not only is Shockwave center of all this, he's able to do all this. Because as much as it's all the course of history played out the way it is because of who Shockwave was. So he had all this. It's not like he just was an idiot who went back in time and said, well, I'm part of history now. He was a very, very intelligent, capable person, and everything went his way. That is one of those things you're like, okay, I get it. But the part of me that was really into that time travel issue that people didn't like is a part of me that is absolutely blown away by this.
Right.
John must have been planning this for a while. So I've got to go back and read things and look for little seeded bits. But the idea that the Prime, like, this is confirmation that the Primes are nonsense.
Yeah.
The everything mystical about the Primes is something technological. Like the Star Saber and the Matrix, they were made by a person.
Yeah.
The Titans are something else entirely. There's still elements of Cybertronian society and biology we don't understand. But the mythology that we've been told, at least up until whatever about gods or whatever, that is all nonsense that Shockwave made up because of history.
So, a quick question. The Knights of Cybertron, when do they leave Cybertron?
They predate this.
They predate this. Okay, right.
Yeah. Because they predate Galvatron and Cyclonus' era.
I thought that was the case, but I wasn't entirely sure, so I thought I wanted to ask just in case.
The Knights and the Gods, I believe, are still up in the air as to what they are.
Right.
So they predate the wars and whatnot.
Okay, I wondered. I thought that would probably be the case, just so the things don't overlap between John and James.
It would be. I think it would be risky to do that. There's too many balls in the air. But this kind of stuff fascinates me. I like just the loop effect and how it makes so many things make sense in how they played out. For me, anyway. And then you got things like Blackrock. He was sent by Onyx Prime. Onyx appeared before Pyra. Onyx has had this looming effect since the Robots in Disguise days over the series.
Yeah.
And that makes so much sense because Shockwave is the big bad guy of John Barber's story. And he always has been. And it kind of blew my mind. Like the Megatronus thing I just love because I hate the name Megatronus. It's a stupid fucking name. The only thing worse is Galvatronus. And just the idea, like, why is he Megatronus? Because Shockwave named him after Megatron.
I think the reason I'm not into it is maybe because I wasn't. I think I've said on the show before that I was never really into the past, like the distant past, and maybe because this is tying into that, and it's not special at all, and it's being kind of proven that it's not special. Maybe that's the reason I'm not fully on board with it, even though the idea is pretty neat in itself. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that, because I do like the mystical element of Transformers.
Yeah.
And there's demystifying, and there's hitting you in the face with a brick.
Back to the Future, this is not.
Yeah, but one thing I've got to say, like, John deserves huge credit, because the amount of things he tied into this. Like, the guy is really underrated in terms of the gifts he's got, in my opinion.
At least like, the ability to tie strings up, at least.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, we all kind of were amazed back in the day when he tried to make the movie stuff make sense. But,
yeah.
This is a really hard issue to talk about. Is there anything you want to bring up or want to go into?
I want to know, because you've got your ear to the ground more so than me. Do you know what the general reaction is to this? Is it positive? Is it negative from what you've heard? I mean, it's the issue's only just kind of came out. It came out yesterday or something like that. So it's still fairly fresh.
Reviews I've seen have been pretty positive. The general public thing, which I was more interested in, because obviously public, has been pretty positive. I've only seen a small percentage of people who aren't into this.
Okay.
A surprisingly small number.
What was the reason given, if you know why people weren't into this? Was it the same reasons as I gave, or were there the other reasons? Were there woo-woo reasons, or what?
The most common reason is just like people didn't like that everything was Shockwave. They just did like why the Shockwave mattered this much. And I didn't see a lot of people talking about the demystifying of things, which surprised me, because I think if there was anything that was going to sort of irritate me personally, that would be it, because I like the mystical element of stuff. I like Transformers don't have to be completely clean. It makes them more real to me that, more real to me that there's a mystical element to things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, it's just... So yeah, public reaction has been pretty positive so far. I'm sure, like, I did see one person say, and this is why John Barber should fucking quit.
That seems a bit harsh.
Reasoned response. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe he means because it's his modus operandi, so he can go no further. He can only plateau now because he's gone too nuts.
I can go this far and no far.
I don't think that's what they meant. But
do you think he's just like lying down on the ground after writing this with like bubbles coming out of his mouth?
I imagine that's how he spends most of his evenings.
His wife and dog and child just looking at him and go, please Please eat the food.
I'm busy. Let me bubble.
All these squares make a circle.
I did like the idea, because I didn't realize Prime was being thrown out into Crystal City. I was slightly amused that Onyx caught him, brought him in, told him a story, and then threw him back out. It's like, come here, Orion, I've got a story to tell you. Here's all my nonsense and woo. That's quite an interesting story, but I believe in hope. Fuck off.
Oh, dear. But you know something, and I've seen this put forward, and I actually think there may be some legs to this. We still don't know where the idea of the Arisen comes from.
No, what's
Optimus
that mean?
Optimus just fell through a big time portal.
You think he's gone back or forward through time?
Well, there's a page where it shows all the primes, at least a few of them. Prima's in the front; they're all on the balcony, and there's one guy who's all dark with blue eyes and pointy ears.
Okay.
I don't know how they would pull this off.
Or if Prime goes back in time as well.
What if Prime is the Arisen? Literally.
Oh God.
But then again, like I'm assuming this all ties into Bumblebee being alive as well. So I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah. Like what happened to Bumblebee is because he's not been sent back in time. It seems like he's been shunted out of reality or something.
Yeah, he seemed to be in Crystal City.
Yeah.
It's just like Shockwave. Like I said, Shockwave no longer has foreknowledge, but he said Optimus needs to learn something. So maybe this whole Arisen thing, he knew him, and then like something happened. But I don't know. I'm very, 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 very curious.
And like you say, it seems to all be leading towards Shockwave seemingly doing something because of Unicron, or that seems to be the general idea. It makes the most logical sense since we know Unicron is right around the corner now at this point.
Like, I could see Shockwave is saying, like, unified planet under me versus Unicron is better than unified planet under you losers.
Yeah, under humans and colonists and Decepticons.
Yeah.
It's interesting he has such disdain for Decepticons as well at this. Well, maybe not disdain, but he doesn't have much... Yeah, he doesn't have much hope for them. Like, he's using them in the same kind of context as humans, which he doesn't give a shit about, and colonists, which clearly he doesn't give a shit about either.
Well, I mean, he never was invested in the Decepticons. Even, you know, he always saw this as part of a long game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you factor in the emotional side of things, he may just have legitimate disdain for them. Just like and he's so old now as well. He's what, 16 million? No, he was around when Nova was boss, so he would be 18 million years old. Yeah,
it's interesting that he's been able to survive as long as he has, and Cup was a piece of crap, basically, for so long.
Do you know the one where he's holding up a face? The panel. There's a panel where he's just holding up his Onyx face.
In the past, where it looks like it's kind of a battle mask kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look in the background, there's a bunch of Shockwave parts.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, neither did I until someone pointed it out.
So he got completely refitted then?
Yeah, but he then refitted himself to look like Shockwave.
Or at least his arm. Like, is he all like that now?
Don't know, but he kept the head.
Yeah. Well, he'd have to, because that's where his brain module would be, right? So unless somebody else would do that.
And I wonder if he'd trust anyone else to do it.
Probably not.
I don't know. It's just, oh man, I have so many questions. Yeah, I don't know what else to say in this one. Do you have anything? Because I'm literally just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no. I think I've covered as much as I can at the moment. I don't know.
In that case, Andy, what is your rating?
I don't know. Again, this, like I say, it's difficult because I'm not fully on board with this. Completely at this point now, completely demystified by the Guide in Hand and the Knights of Cybertron of the past, and it all being tied up to just being Shockwave. But it is well done, and even though I don't like it myself, I don't think it should be a huge knock against it. So I'm gonna go with 8, but I could see you going higher, and I wouldn't complain if you did. I wouldn't have a place to argue from.
No, I'm going higher. I could go for a 10 personally. I honestly could.
That, yeah.
I'm wondering if I should go at 9 because I am aware that so much of this issue relies on you being like me and going like, holy hell.
Yeah.
And there must be plenty of people who are just like, okay, it's good, but I'm just like, what?
Yeah, there are more people like me, maybe that aren't like you and Chris McFeely kind of level of remembering things.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in a bit, actually.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I'm going to conservatively, with full knowledge that it's a very personal rating, go with a 10.
Okay.
And say other people are going to be 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But either way, that makes this a pretty standout issue.
Yeah.
And so far, the falling has gone from strength to strength as a story. It's just I really hope it doesn't crash and burn at the end, because this story is really engaging me. From just not just the Shockwave stuff, but the stuff with Soundwave and Optimus and the political side, which is now starting to fall away a bit. Yeah, I want to know what happens with Needle Nose, and I haven't given effects about Needle Nose in ages. I mean, who cares about Needle Nose? Not Trax! Oh, they have a bad relationship.
They do. They really do.
Yeah, but we will move on into the Lost Light, ladies and gentlemen, because we have the start of our next big story, or at least the first 2 parts of our next big story, which is the Everlasting Voices. So, issue 16, Metastasis. So, Team Rodimus is waking up. In this case, primarily Rodimus and Cyclonus. One is looking like the fuck, and one is really, really happy. Because a gigantic matrix is in the sky. You know, Rodimus, being Rodimus, goes out in the middle of nowhere and goes, the fuck? Radios Ultra Magnus, who is, you know, everyone's confused. What the hell? Where are we? And there's a nice moment where Magnus is like, oh, you're calling me first? Of course I called you first after Drift. Oh, that's nice. Rodimus walks into 10, who is talking a lot. Who is really happy and just wants to tell everyone that he's their bestest friend, and it's amazing. You've all been so kind to me. Rodimus shushes him. And 10 is like, oh my god, I'm being shushed. I've never been shushed before. But, you know, Rodimus and 10 have their moment. It's just like, listen, I've always wanted to tell you how grateful I am to all of you. And in response, his spark is, which apparently he has one, is ripped out of his body by the giant matrix, and he falls to the ground, dead. Obviously, Rodimus is kind of like, oh no. Brainstorm, Nightbeat, and Nautica are examining symbols on the room in which Nautica woke up. The symbols say Primal Sacrament, which is a version of the Cybertronian creation myth. And meanwhile, Brainstorm's early warning device is going off like nobody's business. While they're all talking about this, Drift shows up and drags them all outside. Ratchet catches up to Rodimus, and they start examining 10's body. Confirming he's dead. Ultra Magnus, Whirl, Velocity, Swerve all show up. They're all pretty sad, but Swerve is saying 10 ascended. And Whirl is like, I've had enough. You're all dicks, until Cyclonus explains what he meant. Basically, as far as anyone remembers, is that aboard Skip, 10 started speaking about the fate of the universe, which he said to shut everyone up. And then he starts talking, and Nightbeat notes that his voice sounds different than normal. And 10 takes charge. He says to save Ratchet, who's falling to the ship, the crew is to set course for the nearest Medary facility. And he shows them how to modify Skip's engine so they can travel via compressed space, which I'm assuming is the same kind of tunnels Getaway was talking about.
I guess.
So 10 doesn't know how he knows this, by the way. So mid-transport, the mass displacement technology that's keeping Skip big, it gives out. And they're all forced to bail out of the ship so they don't get crushed. Unfortunately, they bail out into a form of space that is highly, 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 highly unpleasant. And ... Rodimus and the lot ask, how did we get out? And Cyclonus and Swerve saying, we didn't. We're all dead. This is the Afterspark. We're dead. Obviously, Ratchet and a few others are kind of like, no. And Ratchet is actually calmed down by Whirl, who points out, listen, maybe you shouldn't be a dick, because the only reason we're here is because we were trying to keep you alive. Ratchet, like, calms down, but he's saying, like, I'm not buying it. Like, I want some proof we're in the land of the dead. And as proof, Trail Cutter and Pipe show up. Cyclonus kind of realizes what's going on and flies off into the distance. I wonder where. Drift, meanwhile, is giving the same explanation to Brainstorm, Nautica, and Nightbeat that Cyclonus did, and he's saying he's doing it because he's all special and spiritual. Drift and Brainstorm ponder what Ratchet will do. Nautica and Nightbeat have a bit of a discussion where he's saying like he's running out of mysteries, and he wanted to prove whether or not there was life after death. It needed to be like, we know what Rung does, we know about the Necro World. This was the last big mystery, and and it's solved, and I didn't solve it. You know? And then Roller shows up. Remember Roller, Andy?
I remember Roller. I remember what was done inside of Roller.
Yep. According to Margaret Scott, not what we were thinking, but quite frankly, I don't believe her. I believe she has fan fiction written. And it will probably be online under Margaret Scott is a totally great author. This is totally not me.
Good save, Mike.
Indeed. But Roller shows up riding a person who turns out to be Springarm. Who was one of the bots murdered back in Chaos Theory. Roller feels guilty for not being there to save him. Springarm just like, listen, it's all fine. And the two of them go off into the distance. Nautica is calling after them, and while no one's really paying attention, Brainstorm burns his hand on his early warning device. Ratchet and the rest are interacting with Trailcutter and Pipes, and it turns out that they are basically in Purgatory, a transitional plane that protect them from the true afterlife until they're ready to ascend, when you're mentally and spiritually ready. Basically when you're happy. So being in, the afterlife, Cyclonus flies off and find his, dead person, which is Tailgate. Ratchet tries to cheer up Rodimus, so, because Rodimus is having a moment. Whirl basically wonders, Whirl is a dick and just says, you know what would Megatron do while we were here? Rodimus has had enough and literally yells at God. He basically turns to the sky and starts screaming to Primus, "Oi, you, big nose, I want to have a word." And hey, sometimes when you call to God, he answers back. Usually that's in the form of a self-awareness or something. Here you get teleported in front of 5 deities. And Rodimus offers to shake their hand. Because Rodimus. Yeah, so, this is a weird issue. I've got to say this first off. On the one hand, this has a very Morden Meets the Eye feel to it.
How so?
It has that building sense of tension, that wrongness to it, which I found many of the best Morden Meets the Eye stories had in their early parts. It has a lot of character work. It has a lot of back and forth. It has conflicting ideals. There's a bit of humor, but not too much, I found.
Yep.
But apart from that, it compounds all the problems I've had with Lost Light. Specifically and largely, the disconnect I felt with these characters. Because we spent less than half of the book with them. And while that's happened in Morden Meets the Eye, we knew the book was still about them.
Yeah.
This book has not felt about most of these characters. In fact, when the group has been on, apart from we had the opening, which was about Megatron, who's not here. We had a couple of issues after, which was about Nautica and Anode and Lug, because everything's about Anode and Lug. Meanwhile, most of the group weren't there. We had Getaway Story. No one was there. We had the Scavengers. No one was there. We haven't reconnected with these guys in a long time. And we haven't got to know anyone bar Anode and Lug. Like, Roller. Who the fuck is Roller? Like, why do I care that he's got a dead friend? And not only that, a dead friend that unless you're someone like me, you're not going to have any fucking clue who that is.
No, I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Do you know why? Because Springarm and Roller have never appeared together.
Really?
Like, Springarm has scenes with Optimus.
Yeah.
He has scenes with Orion, and he has scenes being murdered. That is it.
Okay.
He appeared briefly in the time travel story, being murdered. We never see him interact with Roller. We never see Roller talk about him. Like, what? Maybe if we'd spent time with Roller and gotten to know Roller, we'd have been on board with what's going on. And then Tailgate shows up. And then, oh my god, the internet went freaking, like, half of them going like, yay, Tailgate, and the other half going like, oh no, they're really dead, because Tailgate really died, Andy.
See, that was when I was like, they're dead. As soon as I started reading this story, I was like, they're not dead. And then I saw Tailgate, I was like, I'm 100% sure now they're not dead.
Yeah, because when Tailgate showed up, I was just like, yeah, this is all a lie.
Yeah.
Like, and now we know the Matrix is basically a fancy sword hilt that someone did some stuff to. Like, clearly, they're not in the afterlife.
No.
So it was like everything that worked about Morden Meets the Eye was there, like the start of a good story. And everything that has been frustrating me about The Lost Light is there as well. So a lot of people got really, really excited about this book. Like, super, super excited. And for me, I was just like, I am having such conflicting emotions.
Yeah.
Because I like a lot of what's in here. I like the Nightbeat stuff. I laughed a bit at the 10 stuff. It felt, nice enough. Rodimus was fun in this, and he hasn't been fun for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that disconnect, and there's that feeling like I need to be... Like, I feel like I should have reread Morden Meets the Eye Season 1, especially, to get to grips with these guys again. Because I'm just wondering, hang on, is Magnus being overplayed here? Is Drift being overplayed here? What were they like? Who were they like? Yeah,
it's been so long, and they have been overplayed in some of the issues that they have been in.
What are your thoughts?
I think one of the easiest things I can point out and say this is how I knew I preferred this issue from any other was the only time we saw Anode and Lug was Anode was flying dead in space or dying in space. So I had to give that a thumbs up at the very least. I'm sticking with it. But it like I say, the mystery was kind of broken as soon as I saw Tailgate, because I'm like, no. Otherwise, I like you, I felt kind of conflicted because it felt like such a long time. I didn't know how to take these characters anymore, as they for the longest time it felt more like a parody of themselves from my perspective.
Yeah.
Or they pushed their character traits from like 10 to 20 in a lot of the previous issues, especially in Lost Light rather than Morden Meets the Eye. Or it's just been building up since Morden Meets the Eye. So yeah, I thought this was better, even though I don't think the mystery maybe was handled in the best way, but the character stuff kind of maybe made up for that a little bit.
Was there anything in the character stuff in particular that grabbed you?
Not really. Everyone just felt like how they should be from what I recalled. From what I recalled, like you. Trying to remember all that time ago, but they all felt like they should.
No, I don't know, like, I what's something I should have been more into? The idea that 10 has a spark.
I didn't know how to take that, because I always saw 10 as a drone as well. Is that how you saw 10?
I assumed he was. I assumed he was intelligent and everything else, but I assumed he was like an artificial, like more like Springer than anything else.
More like Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Like,
sure.
Johnny Five is alive.
Yeah. Maybe that's another sign that this isn't real, because maybe 10 doesn't have a spark, and this was just kind of like shown to them as an example of what you need to do to move on more than anything else. Because I think we see in the next issue we see more false. Things being shown to these guys.
Yeah. It's a difficult issue to talk about, just because we say this a lot, but one of the problems with these books is that they tend to be sometimes because it's so straightforward. What do you think about Nightbeat's sort of dilemma?
The fact that he solved all the mysteries.
Or rather, that the mysteries were solved without him would be.
Yeah, I could imagine that would be really annoying, especially if you're a problem solver. It'd be like if you've got a puzzle and or you're playing a video game and you're trying to do a puzzle and someone just tells you, "Oh, you do that," and you're like, "Oh, fuck's sake! I was gonna get it. I was like right close to getting it." I think this guy needs to start not looking at the big pictures and just get into like crosswords or Sudoku, and then he'll be happy. Calm yourself down, mate.
He just needs to read some Sherlock.
Yeah, exactly. He needs No, what he needs to do is figure out the true identity of Onyx Prime, because that'll make him fucking satisfied when he comes to that conclusion on his own. He'll be like, "Whoa, man, that was good."
Oh man, the end of the falling, right? Everyone comes together. You just have Nightbeat burst in. I know who it is.
Oh, Shockwave. Oh, fuck. God damn it. How did you know? Oh, Prime told us. He told him. Shit.
How do you figure out? Well, he took his head off.
God damn it. I just figured it all out as well. Fuck.
I know where Cybertron was made. Yeah, that's great. That's great, Nightbeat. That's great.
Every fucking time.
Oh dear. Also nice to see a reference to Megatron for the first time, I think, in 10 issues.
Oh.
No. Anything else you want to touch on with this one? Like I said, it's all set up. Like, it has the curse of setup issue.
But... yeah, it's a part one. It's a part one for sure.
What about the art? Because they think, yeah, Jack's back on this one.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Jack.
Again, I have to say, like, I'm not into his style.
No.
But the guy has become incredibly competent at his style.
Sure. If I was going to complain about something, and it's more of a nitpick on the setting, it's the setting, like the background is fairly boring. It's just a grey ground with maybe a few, like, very, very flat, and maybe one or two buildings, and that's it. And then it's just kind of night sky. I don't think that's his fault as an artist, but it's just not very interesting as a background, because all of the backgrounds at that point are just the same. They're all like space backgrounds with grey floor, and that's it.
And it doesn't help that he has had a habit in the past of doing fairly poor backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think it's come together fairly well.
Yeah.
Again, it's me commenting on a guy whose style I'm just not a fan of aesthetically.
Definitely. Yeah.
So everyone's excited EJ Sue's coming up for an issue, and I'm just like, yay, EJ Sue. Behold the big gaping mouths, the Glasgow smiles.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case, we'll wrap this one up. Because I think there's more to talk about in the next one anyway. What's your rating?
I think a 7. I'd be happy to give it a 7. I thought it was good enough. Yeah.
No. To quote the Destiny 2 review, I think it was, from Angry Joe, for taking several steps forward and several steps back, I would put this as a 6.
Okay.
It's a setup issue, which means it's never, unless it's like Wreckers or something like that, it's never going to be as high a standard as I'd expect from the rest of the story.
Sure, yeah.
But apart from that, I think it is too much a microcosm of this book. And too much reminded me of better times.
Yeah.
Or at least what I found to be better times, anyway. So we're going to move on. Apparently this is a 3-part story, and that I feel like kind of explains, because the next issue is quite fast-paced.
Yes.
Or at least it has a quite fast ending. We have part 2, issue 17, The God of War, which is basically Rodimus versus God in court.
Yeah, there is no Kratos.
He's being a dad these days.
He is.
Yeah. So, following on, Swerve and Ratchet are like, the fuck? And Ultra Magnus, and I think this is telling, goes down and starts examining the scorched spot Rodimus was on. But he's very quickly distracted because Dominus shows up and says, "Oh, Magnus, you're amazing. You've grown so much. You made friend with a squishy person. Oh, I'm so proud of you." Magnus is overcome with joy, and we see him elevated up into the sky. Aww. But then we cut to Brainstorm again, his early Brainstorm and his early warning system, which is leading Nautica, Drift, Nightbeat, and himself to a temple made of soft ununtrium, which is basically a less powerful version of the metal, and it's being robbed by Anode and Lug, who are unconvinced they're all dead, would like to have nice things, and Nautica's like, for God's sake, 1, we think we're dead, and 2, we're in a fucking holy place. And Lug is kind of like, oh, well, this is like real world things. And Anode's a bitch.
Again.
She basically tells Nautica to go fuck herself. And then they go off to raid the Matrix. The big floating Matrix. And I was just like, I'm supposed to be on her side occasionally, yeah?
Yeah. In theory.
Yeah. Anyway, but then something weird is going on because Nightbeat catches sight of a trail of photonic crystals on the ground and was just like, I'm gonna go with these.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Piece of candy. But then, before anything can really happen, Drift is sucked away by a bolt of lightning. And he reappears at Rodimus' side alongside Ratchet and the not elevated to a higher plane Magnus. Magnus is like, I was having a moment. And Rodimus is like, I made a team of counselors so we can talk to the guiding hand, the gods. And he picked basically the sort of Tyrest had religion, science, and sort of law, right? And Rodimus now has religion, science, and law on his side. And they basically put forward some arguments. Ratchet saying, I don't think any of this is real. And then like prove who you are. Adaptus wants Drift to recite the story of the God War, which, Mortillus, how he basically introduced death, how Luna 1 arrived, what happened. And over the course of the story, they're just saying like, well, this all comes together and this all makes sense and this is why the After Spark exists and this is it. And they say they're saying like, well, Mortillus is here. Why? And it's like, well, you need to give people a second chance. And Magnus has a moment where he goes like, you really do? Wonder who that's referencing. And then like Rodimus, I think, was just kind of pissed at the idea that Magnus may have second thoughts about Megatron because he's a dick. And basically, so it's like, hey, can you bring us back? Oh, you're gods. Okay, bring us back. Well, if I do that and you die again, you'll never enter the After Spark. Which basically means like, you're gone. And Rodimus is like, hey, no. And then they ask him, why do you want to go back? And Rodimus is like, oh, because I'm a captain. I want to kill Getaway. Mostly want to kill Getaway. Totally want to kill Getaway. Also, I want my friends to be happy. Because they followed me and they're my friends. I genuinely believe it was the murdering Getaway part. And I like this. And the gods go like, well, they're here now, yeah? And they're in the After Spark, yeah? And they all seem very happy about it. Or at least they're trying to be happy, yeah? Case closed. You're happy.
Bye.
Bye. Like, again, going to DBZ. Bye.
Oh, that would be how you do this if like the guiding hand's just Mr. Popo. Hey, maggots.
Yeah. Anyway, they all get transported back. We cut to Cyclonus and Tailgate. They're basically sort of catching up. Tailgate is like, this is why I stayed in Necroworld, and Cyclonus is like, listen, I was dead before because you left me. And okay, we're gonna stay together, no more being dicks. And I kind of like that because I really have gotten to dislike Tailgate as a person during these books. So I like that little bit of a step back to him being who he used to be when he was kind of endearing.
Yeah, but Mikey, we talked about how this is probably not really Tailgate, so...
Yeah, I know. See, this actually made me think, I think it actually is Tailgate because he got teleported out of that room. Because that's why I thought it wasn't real, because I was like, okay, they just teleported fucking Tailgate here. And you notice that he didn't appear before Cyclonus?
Right.
He was curled up in a ball crying into his knees.
So you assume that's why there was the scorch marks in the coffin, because whatever teleportation causes the scorch marks that sent Rodimus to the guiding council kind of thing. Okay.
That it could turn out it's not Tailgate, or like, I've been tricked and it's Pharma. I don't know. But like Cyclonus wakes up, looks over at the other side of the bed, and Farmer's leaning there on one arm. Hi.
Tentacles all around him.
Hey,
what
baby.
did I do?
Not enough. Anyway, Team Rodimus rematerializes on the opposite side of the temple, and Brainstorm and Nautica are investigating. Magnus basically says, well, we fucked up. I'm going to go see if I can find my brother. Ratchet remains unconvinced. He's looking at the temple and sees the words, "We are all trapped light," written over the archway. No one else can see them. And it's like, okay. He leads them inside. They find a big room with W0 written on it. He's the only one who can see it. Ratchet opens the door, and it's the door that says, no, go in, no, bad, do not go in. Revealing about 12 aliens from various different species, all unconscious, hooked up to slabs, and all saying in different languages, prepare, confront, repel. And W0 probably stands for Ward 0. And suddenly the shadows around the three are all filled with glowing red optics. I don't think heaven's as nice as people make it out to be. Meanwhile, Nightbeat is tracking down these photonic crystals, and yeah, he bumps into a group, and he's like, the one guy he wants to talk to isn't here, and the one guy we haven't seen this whole time isn't here. And it's Rung. Whirl says, why are you looking for him? And Nightbeat says he's realized something. He knows what Rung is. And as you and I have said, we've all kind of figured that out. And then Nightbeat points out, so why does he transform? We know what he makes. We don't know what he is and what he's for.
Yeah.
And apparently, Nightbeat is so happy about this that he is elevated, his spark rising into the Matrix.
I kind of wish there was a scene of Will where he just said, as he's rising up and about to lose his spark, he goes, but what if you're wrong? And they just kind of shoots back into his chest and drops him. And like, what do you mean? What if I'm wrong? What if that's not the case?
You need to confirm this.
Yeah, you've got no evidence, right? Maybe.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back in the temple, Nautica and Brainstorm are exploring. They bump into Quark. Brainstorm's old crush that he literally traveled back in time to try and rewrite history for.
And he's like, let's go have sex, Brainstorm. And Brainstorm's like, Kay.
Yeah, it's like, I love you. No, you don't. I do. I love you lots. Okay, bye. We're off. Bye, Nautica. Great. And just like,
I'm gonna have sex now. Woohoo!
And at the time, the early warning detector is literally melting through the floor.
Yep.
Nautica finds the door that says "Danger, do not open." As she's about to open it, Skids appears and says, "Let's go and hang out." And it's nice to have a callback to a plot point, even if it's a plot point I despise.
Yes.
Nautica is really, really, really mean to Ghost Skids.
Hello there, fellow Autobot. Would you like to go and hang out together? You and I, Nautica.
No.
No. Reconnecting to the internet.
But she probably just like, hey, no, yeah, I mean, you're a friend, but you're not a friend, because
I think it'd be more as a brother.
Yeah, oh, God, bye. And she's backing out of the room. But it's like, oh, man, it's just like, wow, having your emotions wiped is a dick move.
Yeah, and seemingly whatever is doing this stuff either can scan her and see that there's a relationship but couldn't tell that there's no emotion connected to it, or something else is going on.
Nah. Well, Skids basically disappears like a hologram being turned off.
Yep.
And then Nautica realizes the hell. Oh, no. So she goes to the door that says "Do not enter." Being Nautica, she enters. And on the other side are the scavengers in Grimlock's cell.
And then she closes the door and welds the door shut and says, "Never open again."
Misfire banging on it. Let me out! I just want to be friends.
No, you stay in there. We're not gonna deal with any of your hoo hockey.
No, we're done. You said it was the last. You said it was the last one. And that's where the issue ends. Yeah, it's a packed one.
So, a quick question about the last page. Do you assume the scavengers have been there long, or do you assume that that last panel takes place directly after their last issue, which was 16?
Yeah,
whatever.
I think 15. I don't think a lot of time has passed.
Okay.
I'm not thinking. I also don't think that's Garrus 9, by the way.
Oh God, no. Clearly.
I think they teleported somewhere else.
Yeah.
No. And in fact, if they even left, or I'm assuming this is all like the Grand Architect's grand plan.
Sure.
But Andy, thoughts?
I don't know. I'm really unsure. Again, it was a lot of. I kind of enjoyed I think the best bit, the part that I enjoyed the most, was the explanation of Adaptus and Primus and all those guys. I liked that, and I thought the artwork was the best there. I actually really enjoyed the artwork there. I thought there were some good shots of what's his name? Mortilis?
Mortilis.
Yeah, him.
Mortilis.
When he's kind of in shadow, kind of going with his little Thanos chin. So I thought that was well done, and I liked that. And I thought them talking about, hey, why do you want to go? Oh, no, don't worry, everybody's happy. Fuck off. Be happy. I like that. I got a little bit sick of the whole, he's something to distract you. Oh, he's something else to distract you now. Go have sex with the robot. Go on. You want to have sex with him? No? Oh, you've lost all emotions. Okay. I don't know. Mikey, help me here. How did you feel about this issue?
Yeah, I liked it. I think it passed very quickly. I feel like there should have been another issue in here.
I think it's because, as I mentioned, or as I was kind of scrambling to mention, not a lot happens.
No, but at the same time, there's a lot of build-up to something.
Yeah.
And the fact this might be a 3-part story, I think will probably hurt it.
You think it should have been more?
I think 4 at least.
Depending how quickly the resolution is, you could be right.
But like it ties into a lot of stuff. Like the reveal about Wrong, I think, is a fucking godsend. Because you and I have not been hiding the fact that we thought, oh, good, that's what Wrong is. That doesn't solve anything about Wrong.
No.
Like, and the fact it doesn't, and the fact he's missing as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't like that Skid's plot point at all. But I like that it did something. I like it was used and not just thrown out there as, hey, we're destroying this relationship. Never gonna reference this again.
Yeah, it's good that it was actually taken into consideration for a future story, even though, it wasn't something that we enjoyed particularly.
I also had fun with the Rodimus bit, where he's just like, hey, God, and God's like, get out.
Leave.
Just take what you've got. And I'm just like, I genuinely believe Rodimus would do that in the face of God.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that fairly well. There wasn't much in here I didn't like get something out of. And I think that's important. Like, Lost Light has been an up and down series for me. It's not comparable, I think, to the Scavenger story. I think that was just overall better. But I think this was, again, as a multi-parter, I think this does enough. And it's starting to tie the various threads together. It's got some new mysteries being put in there. Like, I think it could work. It can work fairly well if this momentum keeps going. Also, I think Nightbeat's fucking dead.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah. Again, it's a pattern. You're noticing a pattern emerging with the deaths. I also think 10's dead.
Again? Question mark?
No, 10. Well, 10 got the shit beat out of him. I don't think he died.
Did he not? I can't remember.
What's his name? The DJD guy with the smelting pool in his chest. He like ripped off his arm or something.
Oh yeah, he didn't die, did he? Assuming 10 can die, because he can't die if we assume what you and I both assume, which was he was just kind of an AI.
Yeah, and like that thing about that not being his voice.
Yeah,
like if 10 was even ever in there, kind of thing, or in control. But assuming it's not like the sparks being collected and you can collect them afterwards yourself, right? Nightbeat basically figured out what the hell was going on, and then got murdered, I think is what happened. Because, hey, no.
No.
And I think this whole being happy thing, there's more to this. Also, a personality tick shows up in this issue, and I didn't need reminding of that.
Oh, which one?
The person. Yeah, one of the aliens is a personality tick.
Oh, okay.
They say so. And I'm just like, really? Why? Why would you ever bring those up again?
Wouldn't this be a really dumb way for the spark eaters to be extracting sparks?
Oh man, yeah. It's like, you be happy. Why? Because it tastes better when you're happy.
Your soul is delicious when you're in ecstasy.
I get the feeling we're about to see a lot of demystifying of cyber utopia, though.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, which I don't think is a bad thing. But now if it could just end with like someone popping up and going like, "Oh yeah, I fixed that universe and time moved differently, so I've had millions of years to fix everything, and now I'm back. I'm gonna make this book better. And also I can go meet Optimus. We can be like, been some weird shit lately.
Then Unicron comes and eats everything.
Yep, and I'm just like, I love you. Ah, yeah, mate. Then Megatron and Optimus shall be inside Roller.
Woo!
Just cut to Roller's face.
Woo!
Also, you know who was completely missing from this?
Who's that?
Roller.
Yeah, I suppose he was.
I feel like the book really thinks I care about Roller. Sometimes.
Maybe.
I mean, anything you want to add to this? Any predictions maybe for the next issues or anything like that?
Predictions. Oh.
Cyclonus and Tailgate Wedding?
Oh, God, please, no. I don't know. I don't know how I think, because the scavengers are going to have a huge impact on what happens next, clearly. And why can only some of the Transformers perceive what is written on walls and some can't? We don't really know the reason to that. Because Ratchet can and Nordica can, but no one else can.
And presumably, like, part of that had something to do with the fact that Ratchet was, like, disappearing.
Or was it because he was just a complete non-believer?
Like, maybe. Like, I would say belief would have nothing to do with this, but James does pull the whole if you believe it, it's happening kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did like the bit where Drift goes like, I can't see it, but I believe in you, Ratchet, and they're just like, I will fucking smack you.
I will end it. Does that mean as well that when oh god, what's her name? The little DJD now scavenger lady.
Why? Nickel.
Does that mean we're gonna have like DJD popping into this because they're quote unquote
God.
ghosts? Or...
that would be. I would want to see that because I want to see what would happen to Swerve.
Hey, Swerve.
As he's hey, Swerve. Hey. Drift just catches fire.
Not again.
I think it would be a neat trick if like once whoever is in charge of this realizes what's going on, it like starts bringing in everyone like Megatron, Optimus, I don't know, like Blur, bring in anyone who might have a relationship with them to try and distract them.
Yeah,
I think that would be a neat trick, but yeah, it would be weird. Then again, like I still really want this book. I want more calling of Nickel's bullshit because now she's meeting Autobots for the second time.
Maybe, I guess.
And the first time she'll ever speak to any.
Yes, yeah, without them screaming at her, please God, let me go. I don't want to die.
Yeah, so maybe she could be less of a disturbing psycho killer.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
No. But hey, I've always wanted the Scavengers to meet up with the gang, so...
That's true, because it's never happened, has it?
Never. Ever. They've seen them on TV once. And that was when they all were going to die. So, but yeah, like, I don't know, I'm very curious. I'm curious to see where this goes, which is a nice change. So yeah, I think we'll wrap this one up here then, Andy. What's your rating?
For this one, I'll give it a 7 as well, because I feel it didn't oomph me as it feels around the same kind of quality as the last issue I felt. So I'm not wowed and I'm not horrified either.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7 as well. Pretty much I feel kind of the same way as I did about the last one without the baggage.
Yeah. Is that because we're into the swing of it? Yeah,
and it's focusing more on the story as well this time than sort of going like, hey, you love these guys still, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm assuming the Scavengers are now going to just be part of the team.
Well, for as long as that matters. Until Unicron comes and eats them as well.
Everything like, what a wonderful time. Here's basically Satan.
He's just like popping them like Maltesers.
I really hope the universe survives it. I wouldn't put money down, but like I just let everyone have a happy ending for Christ's sake. Like it's been like you came in after Dreamwave's bad ending. Go out in a high. Yeah, so this is it for the main show, guys. Thank you all for listening. We will be back next month. We might have another set of double issues. I don't know if it's May or June that it all kicks off in that regard.
Oh, it's soon.
For those of you on Patreon, hang on a bit because you will, of course, be listening to our Visionaries review, and I will be asking you all a quick question. If you'd like to comment on the show or anything else like that, you can contact us on Twitter at TheMoonbase2, and you can email us at TheMoonbase2@gmail.com. Not the app, just TheMoonbase2@gmail.com. So yeah, with me, if you want to contact me, it's on Irish Paleo, it's on Gwolf. I'm everywhere on the internet these days. I'm ubiquitous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very serious condition. Also, if you get a chance, the Margaret Scott interview has gone public. It's an interesting listen where I ask bad questions and she answers them with infinite patience. So check it out. Next month, I think next month we're going to be having another interview come out, which is probably going to be Tom B. Long,
yes,
who was a great guy to chat to, and I have to get him on for a woo-woo at some point.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's really into his British sci-fi.
Oh, right, okay.
So I think like Doctor Who or Red Dwarf or something like that. Oh. And I can talk about how I've stopped watching Who a few years back, and I don't really miss it.
Okay.
But yeah, so Andy, what about you? Let's market things.
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr as CCTFW, on YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW. You can find this podcast on the Moonbase 2 forums. We're on Twitter and iTunes, Facebook. We're on YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. And if you want to head over to patreon.com for the extended version of this show, Moonbase Woo Woo. And things like the interviews early, you can head over to patreon.com/moonbase2 and just do $2 each month. And if you want to see all my nonsense and woo-woo, head over to the ccbunker.weebly.com. And that's me done, Mr. Mikey, I think. I think that was it.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. We will talk to you again with the main show during the week, and we'll talk to you about comics again next month. It's all hitting the fan, lads. It's all hitting the fan. Patreon peeps, we will talk to you in a minute.